Hello, good day, and welcome to this session on opening public markets to international trade. By the end of this session, you should be able to understand prohibiting discrimination against suppliers, goods, and services of other countries, understand transparent procedures for awarding procurement contracts, understand standardization of procedures for awarding public procurement contracts, and finally, addressing corruption in relation to procurement processes. So, when we say opening up public procurement or opening public markets to international trade, what do we mean? For every public procurement system, the goal is to achieve value for their customers. And we have established prior or earlier that competition is one of the means to achieve best possible offers from suppliers in the form of goods, works, and services. So, in public procurement systems, one of the means of achieving value for their inhabitants of their countries is by opening up public procurement or their public markets to international trade. So, let's take for instance the European public procurement sector. This public procurement sector is one of the open or is the most open in the world. External or outside countries are able and even welcome to compete in their markets subject to the same conditions as European countries. So in the end, external or countries from outside Europe or outside their jurisdiction are able to partake in their public procurement system, but there is no special rule that is applied to these countries because of the principle of the avoidance of discrimination. Hence, rules that apply to internal countries are those that apply to external public procurement systems that partake in their procurement proceedings. And they have realized several benefits from opening up their markets to international trade. One of the Some of the benefits include a realization of reduction in prices of goods in their markets, increased competitiveness of companies in Europe, as well as value for money to European authorities and taxpayers across Europe. So, in order for public procurement systems to open their market to international trade, they have to adopt certain means which will ensure that some of the benefits that are enjoyed by these Europeans are also enjoyed by other public procurement systems. And one of them includes prohibiting discrimination against the suppliers, their goods and services who are coming from other countries. Because as we saw earlier, Europe has been successful in their quest to open their market to international trade by applying the same rules which are applicable to their internal companies. And this has seen significant benefits because the moment you begin to adopt or apply different rules to external countries' suppliers, it means there's sort of the likelihood for discrimination. But when the same rules apply, it means you are facilitating competition and hence even promoting competitiveness of the local companies because in the end the same rules are being applied. So if the internal local companies are not well competitive, are not on cutting edge, you realize that external companies will be winning contracts, which in the end would send monies to external countries to develop their economies rather than the internal economy. So one of the benefits of or the means of achieving the goals of public procurement or the achievement of opening public markets to international trade is by prohibiting discrimination against suppliers, their goods and services. And the second one is requiring the adoption of transparent procedures for awarding procurement contracts. So the goal of every procurement system, because of the use of public funds, is to ensure that procurement proceedings are open to the general public so that people or suppliers in other countries would know what goes into the process and if they are convinced enough can take up the nod to engage in procurement in such a given jurisdiction. A third means employed by trade rules on public procurement to achieve their objectives of opening up markets is standardization of procedures for awarding public procurement contracts. So, a degree of standardization in public procurement procedures help in international trade significantly because suppliers are able to familiarize themselves over time with the given procedure without any complexity, and they are able to commit and give their all in public procurement proceedings, which in the end goes to the favor of the public procurement system that is opening up their markets to international trade. And then finally, addressing corruption is one of the means adopted by trade rules in opening up their markets. The local public procurement system has to put in place measures to avoid as much as possible rumors or the potential suspicion of corruption. This helps to instill confidence in the public procurement system of the given country and ensure that customers or suppliers trust the process and are convinced enough that their bids are being considered objectively without consideration or favoritism to local suppliers. So, in summary, this session has provided or addressed procurement related issues in terms of international market trades, discrimination, transparency, corruption, and standardization among countries or continents. Thank you.